Everybody doing good today? Allie Kennedy's here. All right. Yeah. So what are we going to talk about today? I chose a pretty nebulous subject matter here uh, because I think that right now things are pretty nebulous. Um, there's no shortage of opinions on what people should be doing right now with our time. This is unprecedented in every single possible way. I've never spent as much time with my wife and kids as I am currently spending, and I realize that I actually married the right one because we don't kill each other. It's very nice. So, anyhow, what are we to do now as musicians, as a musical family? And I, as somebody who's a bit of an old-fashioned soul who doesn't really enjoy change, I would advise everybody to embrace the change and embrace this moment we're in, and see what we can use it for. I know that personally, I've gotten a great deal of things done. I've managed to accomplish quite a bit, despite the fact that I'm not able to leave the house. and For me, that's something that I think translates. I think that artists have the ability to do some similar things. So I'm going to run through some items here, and talk about a few things, and then obviously we'll open it up for questions. And appreciate you guys being here. So this new reality we're in, no touring for years, for more than a decade, while the rest of the business has gasped for air. Touring has been something that's kind of thumbed its nose at the rest of us, to be honest. That's gone. That's awful. That's awful. It's a massive chunk of your revenue. We recognize how awful it is, and everyone, myself, my company, my colleagues and friends in the industry are scrambling to try to find ways to augment that, to offset that. And so, I think there's been a great deal of creativity that's popped up recently. You take into consideration the touring piece, you remove in-person collaboration for all my songwriter friends, which is really awful. Most songwriters thrive on being in a room with other creators. You look at a fragmented audience, many of which have lost their revenue streams. It's really a crazy time. The merch table, which used to be a major factor in artist revenues, especially the what I like to call the blue collar artists, those that work and are able to work making music year round, but aren't making the gazillions of dollars. That being gone is something that requires a pivot. And then last but certainly not least, and very near and dear to my heart, after years in this space, TV and film production have slowed to a halt. And sync is not what it used to be. And right now, sync is entirely advertising. And it's almost entirely the same song, the same kind of song. It's almost homogenous, what's happening in the advertising space. So how do we deal with this as artists and as musicians during this time? Hey, Sandy, I see your comment there. I'm gonna jump into questions as soon as I get done. So my first bit of advice, and I've received so many emails and text messages and Facebook messages, Instagram messages from artists, both that I work with and artists that I don't work with, asking, what do we do? What do we do right now? Should we halt all of our plans? I want to emphasize, I think it's more important than ever. Keep releasing, keep creating, and keep putting that art out into the world. The ways we put that art into the world are going to change and are going to be different. The ways that art is consumed are going to be different. But the reality is, what you all do best, most of you, is create. And I only say most of you because I know I have some music business colleagues that are probably joining right now and who are as equally uncreative as myself. But that said, keep releasing your music. There's some interesting trends that we're seeing across the industry and then locally in Symphonic's numbers that show a little bit of a silver lining in odd spaces here. One of which is we've all read the articles. Streaming is down. Big black newsprint. Streaming is down. That is correct. That is correct. Globally, I just read a report. Streaming is down about 10%. Little less. 9.25 was what it said for your traditional streaming outlets. That's awful and it sucks. However, the bright side of this is video consumption is up. And video consumption across the board is up 13%, according to the numbers I just read. And so when you look at these kind of offsets, what you're going to realize is that consumers can continue to consume. They just are changing their consumption habits. The same thing happened when Tower Records went down in 2007. I was working in a business that sold CDs. We sold pallets of CDs. We had $2 million worth of CDs sitting on Tower Records loading docks that we got back at about 10 cents on the dollar. My CEO at the time pulled us together and he said, look, we're just going to have to change the way we do business. The fans are still there. And so I think it's really important that we all keep that kind of a mindset in this time. We're in a pivotal moment. We are all pivoting. So just keep in mind, the numbers don't point to the sky falling. What the numbers really point to is us having to change the way we do business. So the first thing I would recommend, artists, get your affairs in order. Get all of your affairs in order. Do a revenue completeness check. Anywhere that you could earn revenue, you need to be able to check the box and confirm that you are in fact set up. Starting as a songwriter, starting with PROs. If you do not belong to a PRO, performance royalty organization, you are leaving money on the table. And it doesn't matter how big or small you are, you're still leaving money on the table if you are releasing content. Please make sure that you register. I'm agnostic. I don't care who you register with. In the US, ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC are the three biggies. If you're in Canada, SOCAN is incredible. And I think SOCAN is one of the worldwide leaders in the PRO space. PROs are built to be an advocate for you. So if you're looking to get a publishing deal, guess what? An introduction from a creative at a PRO opens that door. My former gig, we had a non-solicitation rule. We would not allow people to come knock on the door and get a meeting, which is literally how people do this thing in Nashville sometimes. However, somebody that came over at the suggestion of one of our contacts at the PROs, all of a sudden we gave credence to that meeting. So join a PRO, get involved. The PROs are also doing a lot to try to shore things up right now for our performing artists. And so I think it's worth noting, a senior exec at CSAC told me recently that CSAC is starting to view live streams and adapting to view live streams as live performances and to try to remunerate you in that space from the live stream data. Of course, you've got to report the performance and you've got to report the audience size and the set list. But they are all trying to pivot just as badly as we are. I know on ASCAP, they've released a ton of online services and resources for artists. BMI, in addition, has online resources designed around COVID-19 and how we deal with this. I think it's really important that you be a good steward of your business. And if you don't belong to a PRO, you're dropping the ball. Start there. Beyond PRO, get your publishing administration together. If you are selling records, if you are streaming at any mass volume worldwide, just belonging to a PRO and having an affiliation with Harry Fox does not cover you all the way. I would highly, highly recommend getting a good, reputable publishing administrator to work with. Now, publishing administration is going to cost you between 15 to 25%, depending on the level of service offered and who you're working with. But I highly, highly recommend that you look into that. It's one thing, one of the biggest pieces of pie that are left on the table in publishing administration is international mechanical royalties. The international royalties can mount up and can be very big, especially if you have any kind of luck in the streaming space. So having a good pub admin with direct relationships to the collection societies worldwide will shore that up for you. Of course, Symphonic offers this, but I'm telling you, just get a good pub admin. If you'd like us to work with you on it, we have a partnership with Song Trust, and be more than happy to work with you. That is a division that falls directly under me, and me and my colleagues will be glad to help you. But that said, for those outside of Symphonic, for those who are looking around, good pub admin, that means a reputable pub admin with direct relationships, is really, really important. The last thing I would say on the creator side, on the publishing side of things, is don't stop creating. Keep writing music. With the addition of Zoom meetings and Google Hangouts, I've seen more online collaboration today than ever before. There are entire groups who've written entire albums completely by mail. The Postal Service did this back in the early 2000s. It's been done. It's known to be done. You don't have to stop creating just because of the current situation. Next, I would turn to our master monetization. Now, when I say master monetization, I don't mean just releasing records. I mean, where else can you be collecting royalties here to help you earn revenue? In the US, number one, Sound Exchange. Make sure that you belong to Sound Exchange. You need to go register, be a part of what they're doing there. They are collecting web performance royalties for masters. This is a big deal in the US because the US copyright code does not protect master recordings for public performance. That's why radio has never had to pay for master use. It's nasty. It's an awful, awful, awful earmark in the law. And the radio lobby is so big that they've never been able to get it to change. So that's why Sound Exchange is so important in the US. If you're getting international radio play, if you're getting any kind of traction internationally, neighboring rights collection is very important. This is, again, something we offer, but we have to be very selective about who we offer it to. As a company, artists that are having lots of international traction, we're able to help with this. There are other third parties, though. Neighboring rights, get your rights shorn up. So just to help you understand what neighboring rights really encompasses, it's anything that's played on the radio, anything played on TV, if it's played on web radio, public performances, private copying. Sorry, I'm reading from a list here. Anything played in online media. And these income sources will differ country to country, but neighboring rights is really important. Jump into that. Okay, we've gotten through the rights thing. Let me check here. I'm blind as a bat right now, so you're going to have to give me a little bit of grace as I try to read these comments. And again, I will get to the comments and I will address these at the end, the questions. I think right now is a great time for a reset all the way around. I think we need to reset and check our online presence. Social media is so important. The way we use it leverages and builds your fan base and allows you more than ever to engage with your audience. Engagement is the number one driver of success. And those who've heard me speak have heard me beat this horse to death. But if you don't engage, you're going to have a really, really hard time. You can buy followers, you can buy streams, you can't buy engagement. So when you see a spike in somebody's streams on one track, but every other track has no streams, it's fishy. It's fishy that artist only has fans of one song instead of fans of their complete body of work. Really important. Engage with your fan base and build your fan base. This starts at the very most fundamental space. Check your website. It's so overlooked these days, but artists, please check your website. Labels, check your website. This is the core of your social media footprint. This is where you link to your socials. You should be driving and receiving traffic from all of your socials to your website and vice versa. And take this time to integrate third-party items like bands in town, other concert calendars, things like that. I know that right now it seems superfluous. You're not out touring, but you will be. Moving from there, I think personally, the platform I engage most with musicians on is Instagram. Instagram is so important. Jump into your Instagram, go check your bio, see what it says. Really, seriously, see what it says. While you're at it, go onto Spotify and check out Spotify for Artists and check your bio. You need to have a real bio. Your bio needs to exist on those platforms. In addition, make sure you update those cover photos and use that one link on Instagram wisely. If you're in the middle of a release cycle, pre-save campaigns, things like that. If you're out of a release cycle, be sending people to YouTube, sending people to follow campaigns. There's so many multiple link aggregators that you can use right now. I would jump into this and I would really, really double down. The other thing you can do on Instagram is increase your posts and engagement. You really, really have to engage. That means answering comments, answering messages, back and forth with your audience builds bigger audience. It's an engagement loop. You engage with somebody, they become a fan, they talk to somebody else, and then the loop continues. Your engaged audience is much like a muscle. You're either getting bigger, stronger, better, or you're getting weaker. So take some time and really jump into that. Work on your content mix, build a content calendar. You can't always be selling. Make sure that for a good portion of what you're talking about, you can be talking about affinity artists. You can be showing just how quirky you are. You can be engaging content from other social media there. It's really important. Facebook, update your header, people. If you have a record coming out, update the header with the artwork from the record. Update your picture. There, these little things. Right now, as we have so much time on our hands that we can really do this. All of it should reflect whatever your current focus is, your current album, new rebrand, etc. You can do live stream events there. Hey, I'm doing a live stream event on Facebook. Continue to engage and interact with those fans. YouTube. Again, I sound like a broken record, but update the header artwork. All of these things you can do. Make sure all of your social media is linked there. Run subscriber campaigns across other social media. Get those subscribers up so that you can monetize. You can make real money on YouTube. And like I said, with the streaming data showing us what it is, video streams, YouTube is going to be so much more important here moving post-coronavirus. We had already said video made a big difference. Video is a big piece of the pie, and a lot of people ignore it. You need to be posting to YouTube like you post to other socials. Get on a schedule. Regularly post. Up your content frequency and stick to that schedule. The other thing you need to do, if you haven't already done it, apply for an official artist channel. We can do that for you. We can assist you with that. So reach out if we're working together and let us assist. SoundCloud is another great platform. Build that profile. The same rules that I've talked about on all these other platforms exist. Upload your tracks, promote those releases, and monetize. Twitter, same thing. Banner update. See, I'm like, it's the same damn thing. You just need to do it every place your brand exists. It sounds exhaustive, but you got nothing but time right now, right? Remember that you can be using any of these to drive traffic with your musical asks. The new hot topic, TikTok. I'm sure everybody here has been on TikTok. Get on the bandwagon. It's not too late now. If you pay any attention to it, what you're going to see recently is there's so many more artists who've doubled down on TikTok, comedians, Kevin Hart doing dances all day long on TikTok. He's got nothing but time on his hands. That's true fan engagement. He's finding new fans there. And so is Shaq. So are all of the Jason Derulo. But Jason Derulo's TikTok is freaking hilarious. Check that out. But in all actuality, get on TikTok, make some goofy videos. Be sure your music is delivering there. All Symphonic clients have these capabilities, and we deliver to TikTok unless we're told not to. You guys, make sure your music's there. Do a goofy dance. Get some other friends to do a goofy dance and see if it goes viral. Influencer campaigns, it's a big consideration. It's a lot of money, and whether there's bang for the buck there is kind of up for debate right now. Choreography, matters, and the quantity of what's driving these TikTok sensations are really built on fans engaging and jumping in. Yeah, you can have a couple of influencers kind of seed the field, but you've got to continue to water it. All others, Twitch is another great platform I would consider looking at. There's some great resources online about how to live stream at Twitch. It's pretty slick. They've got a tip jar. Triller, kind of like TikTok. There's other platforms, but the main platforms I've already gone over. So now that you've built your platforms and you've done everything, what should you be doing next? You've got to leverage your platforms against each other. You need to drive traffic from higher traffic platforms to lesser utilized traffic platforms and utilize that to help build that audience. You can be advertising right now. CPMs is at like an all-time low. Everybody pulled their ad budgets back. Everybody. I've talked to executives at several major record labels in the last week who said they've all doubled down on advertising. It's web advertising. You can do this, and you can build this ad strategy across multiple platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, Google, Brandzuka, TikTok, Pandora, and SoundCloud, just for examples. Build your brand, go out and advertise. Your advertisement will change depending on what your motivation is at the moment. If you're in album cycle, again, you're going to be talking about pre-saves, you're going to be talking about new music. If you're out of album cycle, you can be talking about go subscribe to my YouTube. You can be talking about go follow my Spotify. Any of these kind of advertising moves will help drive the needle. And I think it's the best bang for the buck. Honestly, with regards to marketing services, I think if you can mount smart advertising campaigns, build out the profile of what your ideal listener is, find who they have an affinity for, and market there. Makes lots of sense. We offer advertising, glad to do that for you guys. But if you can do it yourself, do it yourself. The other item, that everybody's talking about right now is live streaming, and live streaming on all of the platforms, basically, we've just mentioned, from Instagram Live to Twitch. Stage It is great, but you have to actually be able to sell tickets to work on Stage It. So if you have a massive captive audience who will get excited about what you've got to present, live stream to Stage It. YouTube Premieres is pretty cool. It's kind of a hybrid live stream where you basically pre-record the material and then you interact with fans live while you play the material for them. Facebook Live, Beatport Live, there's others. Live streaming is the hotbed topic. It's not going to offset all of the lost touring revenue, but it will help. Other items to consider: merch. Get your merch updated. Make sure you've got an online merch store that works for you. Start working on booking those fall tours. We're not all going to be locked up forever. And the other item I would say is shore up that artist team. If you're an artist or if you're a label, make sure you've got your financial manager in place, your lawyer in place, your booking agent in place. I realize the booking agencies are hemorrhaging right now, but you should still be pushing that hustle. Most of all, my friends, I want you all to have faith and keep doing what you do best, because we have to create, and creating together, we're going to get through this. We're all going to get through this, and we're going to learn an awful lot as we go. So that was a lot of information. I'm out of breath now. I'm going to look at these comments here and see if I can address a few things. So Sandra Duvall asks, would artists embrace songs of substance instead of using songs that fit that formula of all songs being concert driven? Sandra and I know each other from an online songwriters community. I think that's kind of a short-sighted question, honestly, Sandra. I think that most artists think that there's some sort of substance to the music they're putting out. Whether the rest of us agree with that or not is up for debate. But I do think that I've seen, especially in the sync space, which is just something I pay attention to, I've seen a doubling down of that assurance song, the songs that make it's going to be okay. Andra Day's Rise Up. If I hear it again in a commercial, I'm going to throw up. I love that song, but you can, in fact, beat a horse to death. And so, I do think that, like any other time, The Vietnam War was a hotbed for great musical expression. Anytime there's tumult in our culture, the musical expression that we see back tends to be deeper. It tends to have a lot more meaning. At the same time, I just talked about TikTok, and one of the top songs on TikTok is "I'm bored in my house. I'm bored in my house. Bored in my MF house." So, if you look at these things, I honestly think, I think we are going to see a great influx of art songs, but I don't know that it's going to change anybody's trajectory. I think if your shtick is doing silly dances on TikTok, you're going to keep doing silly dances. Let me see who else here. Sorry guys, I'm blind and I have a light in my face. Questions. Lauren Spring, what are you asking me? You feel like your band is 100% lost in the shuffle on pub admin because you're not a giant pop or hip hop artist. You signed with with a pub admin after a hard sell at South by Southwest. They really gave on advocating for the indie artist, but they won't even return an email. All right, let me tell you this flat out, guys. If anyone in your team won't return your email, they're not on your team. I don't give a damn who it is. I don't give a damn how important they are. One of the things we've done at Symphonic is we've maintained, and we really try to maintain this boutique presence, this white glove presence. Most of you artists, the artists that know me, that work with me, can text me on the weekend and get my attention. If not the weekend, you definitely get emails back. If you're in a situation where you've signed up to be in any kind of relationship in this food chain and people aren't responding, find someone who will respond. It makes me really angry because I really do my best to reply. I think that it's one thing to sign folks up for a service and help them monetize things. It's another to actually be on their team. And I think it's so important. And so I would advise anybody who says, I signed up with X, Y, or Z, and they're not replying, find somebody who will. Even the largest companies, you can find a help desk, and the help desks will get back to you quickly. I know that even, for those who've used the Symphonic help desk, I have some of the best client service people in the industry working here. And they get back quick because it's important. You need a resolution to your issue. So that's inexcusable, Lauren. I hate to hear that. You have my contact. We can definitely back channel and talk about that without a public audience. Okay, Jason Ryderband from the band Ryderband asks, when I said apply for official artist channel, do I mean Vivo? No. It's actually something you do through YouTube. We actually do this. Anybody that we're actively channel managing and monetizing for, we have the ability to do this for. Again, Jason, reach out to me and I'll see if I can connect the dots for you there. It's really cool. The official artist channel on YouTube actually aggregates everything. So it aggregates, if you're on Vivo, it aggregates Vivo content, it aggregates your content, it aggregates user-generated content, and allows you to monetize it all. There's a debate on Vivo whether people want to be there or not because of the monetization issue there. I'm agnostic. I'm not going to tell someone to go there or not to go there. It's an artistic decision. However, having an official artist channel allows us to aggregate all that into one space where you can curate it. So you can put your most pertinent, most important items at the top, and you can put everything else kind of below the fold. All right. Okay. I'm trying to understand this. Give me a sec. How do we engage our relationship more with Symphonic to make sure our relationship is successful? I get asked by John Gauss. It's very simple. Engagement happens on so many levels. For us, if you have a personal relationship with a staff member or with somebody you've worked with here, start there. If you don't, there's a number of resources you can utilize to further engage with Symphonic and understand what we have to offer, what maybe you're not doing that you could be doing. Number one is if you are a client in the SMS, there are tons and tons of resources. We have third-party relationships with a number of companies that we think are great benefit to our clientele, so you can engage there. Additionally, I always tell folks, go to the blog. The Symphonic blog is so good. I realized it was really good when I saw it actually being linked to from a competitor's blog. The Symphonic blog is just chock full of information. And if you go there with any questions you've got, go to the search window. If you're curious about TikTok, just put TikTok in for the search. It'll yield a ton of results. That is such a knowledge base. That and we also have a knowledge base for you called symphonic.help that you can engage with. Engagement doesn't have to be in person, but there are a number. You're already engaged. I mean, first of all, John, you're here right now, which tells me that you take your business seriously and that you want to know other ways to make money, other ways to succeed here. So keep engaging, stay on the Symphonic socials. We're very vocal about the third-party items that we have available, whether it be artist marketing initiatives or advertising initiatives or partnerships with other companies. We're very vocal about it, and you can find out about those in your SMS login as well as at the blog. Okay, Bobby Marin, my man from South Florida, Mambo Bobby's here. YouTube monetizing. What about YouTube monetizing, Bobby? That's kind of an open-ended question. I will say this on the front of YouTube: you need to have subscribers on your channel. You need to have over 1,000 subscribers on your channel to do anything worth a darn there. So be sure that you spend some time there and promote that. You can promote that through a number of outlets, but the Mambo Music socials is where I would start for that. If you don't have the socials built up already, Bobby, I know we've helped you with a number of items. You can build them up yourself. You can outsource that. But getting on those socials and driving people from there to YouTube is really the first way. You've got to get those 1,000 subscribers. It's very, very, very important. What other questions here? Sandy DeVault asks what I think of the new Coda streaming service that's being advertised. I be quite honest, I've not followed it. I haven't paid attention. She says it says it's free. I will remark that nothing in this world is free. You're giving something up by doing the free thing. Now that may be giving up a team around you that's responsive, that will help you and guide you. That may be giving up DSP outlets. I have no idea about that, but my daddy used to tell me, and I always believe it now, if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. So I would beware anything that comes across as free. No one builds a service in this industry. No one does anything in this industry for the sake of doing it, for the building it, spending the money, the R&D costs, just to give it away and not have any money happen there. That's an altruistic thought. It would be a beautiful thing. But even our musicians, my favorite people, you guys have to make a living, right? And items cost money to operate. So yeah, I would be wary of anyone offering a free service, and be wary of anything that seems too good to be true, because it probably is. Okay, Sandy, I've answered that. Wow, so I have made it all the way down to the bottom here. Hey, Liz Berlin, you've got me. You've got my ears and my mind. What can we talk about, guys? What do you want to talk about? What do you think is important to talk about right now? I tell you what I think about a lot, honestly, is I have hundreds of friends that are hurting right now, that are trying to earn a living and that don't have the basic means to do so because they worked a bartending job and made their music at night. And it hurts my heart. It really does. And I think the whole industry's really tried to pull in and do everything we can to find ways to augment that. I don't think live streams are going to change the world. I really don't. I think they will be a bigger part of the marketing mix down the road, but I don't think they're going to be the thing that rights the ship here. I think they're an intermediary to get us there. And it's just really, it's really heartening to see so many of you guys log in here to have a conversation with me about music, because it's the most important thing in my life. And I think right now we need music more than ever. I mean, as I look around and I see the musicians we've lost, in Nashville specifically, John Prine and Joe Diffie, and it's just really awful. It's really awful. It's this industry. Nashville's had a rough month of March, and April's not looking a whole lot better. But I'm hopeful, and I'm look forward to days that will be better. Okay, hold on. My boss is asking a question. This is scary stuff. What's some advice I have for people to keep their sanity during the quarantine? That's a great question. I tell you what, I've been working out a lot, and I think if you don't get outside and breathe some fresh air, it's tough. So from the stake of how do we keep our sanity? I mean, start with the list of items I went through. That's a laundry list of items that you guys can run through on the musician side of things. But on the life side of things, it's way too easy to sit inside and play video games and drink whiskey all day long. Trust me. I know this. So I've been getting out, and actually it's silly, but I've been going for walks every day. And it should be lifting weights with my wife, but she's way more motivated than I am. But we've been working out. We're trying to eat clean, trying to stay healthy so that when we can get out and about, we'll be healthy enough to do it. So I recommend anybody to do that. If you've got a yard, man, go work in your yard. That's been my happy place for the majority of the last month or so. Jeremy Bouchard says, what do you think of all the different services that pitch sync services, SongTrader, MVibe, etc.? Sync is a sticky wicket. I think there's a number of really reputable third-party sync agencies that all they do is third-party sync, or divisions of companies that all they do is third-party sync. And I think in those cases, it's a little bit like the distribution game where somebody mentioned earlier about their pub admin situation where they couldn't get the email back. They did no contact. They were sold on this love for the indie artist, and then the indie artist emails and can't get a response. Sync is the same way. I mean, I think you've got to be with somebody who's almost as passionate about your music as you are. There are sync agencies I know that actually, and this is a little extreme, but they'll actually go through song by song with an artist and they'll say, yeah, we'll take these 4 songs, but we don't want the others. That's somebody who's really dialed in. They're dialed into what the prescriptive needs are for sync. When you look at a big company that's trying to hang sync out as a come over and do business with us and we'll do sync for you cookie, that's rubbish. It's complete rubbish. You think they're going to know what your latest single sounded like? Do you think when they get a brief, sync works like this? I sit back. I've got relationships with 600 music supervisors. I really do. I get briefs. I read the briefs. It asks for up-tempo female pop, preferably written by someone from Ireland. Seriously, it goes that deep. I go, oh my God, I've got that one band, that Irish punk pop band that I work with. Okay, yeah, let's send some stuff over from there. These large box establishments that take thousands upon thousands upon thousands of sync clients in, do you think they know who you are? Come on now. So I would be really weary of anybody dangling sync out. I'll tell you this. We have a sync company called Bodega Sync. It's ran by some top-notch sync executives that came from the publishing space, and that do a really, really good job with a very curated list of music. Bodega is not guaranteed. If you're here as a Symphonic client, you'll get a look for Bodega, but Bodega won't take everybody. The reason why we won't take everybody is because if you tell everybody that they're a priority, nobody's a priority. We've got to stick with things we know will work for that. So that's why when I look at these other companies, and I know execs at both of the companies that Jeremy mentioned, and they're great folks, and the companies do good business, I think. But when I look at these companies that roll this all-encompassing, one-size-fits-all package where you get sync and this and that, that's bullshit. It's bullshit. Your needs, Jeremy's needs, are going to be way different than Lauren Spring's needs. And so, why not craft a suite of services that address exactly what you need? That's what I think is important. That's why I kind of went through the revenue completeness check thing with you guys earlier, is because there's items there that you guys are probably killing it on. You probably don't need any help with any of it. I'm going to single out Jeremy. Jeremy, man, let me tell you, Twitch, that guy was an early adapter on Twitch. I know he's got Twitch locked down. Now, he may not have some of these other things locked down quite as tightly. That's why I think that one-size-fits-all approach just really, really doesn't work. Okay, more questions. I like this. This is fun. People ask me questions and I answer them, and then I get more questions. It's like feeding the beast. Nick Gordon says, Symphonic says it delivers to more DSPs than some competitors. What value do these small DSPs have to artists? Okay, it's no secret, guys. The vast majority of that pie, that streaming pie, is held up by about 4 big players. You've got your Spotify, your Apple, your Amazon, and your Deezer. And depending on where you live in the world, some of them take precedence. Now, that accounts for a great deal of the Western world. But when you look into emerging markets and second and third world countries that are just now getting onto the streaming situation, they have their own native streaming sites. And so while it may not be enough to supplant what you have going on at Spotify currently, having as many DSPs in operation playing your music is definitely going to benefit you. It means that bottom 10 to 15% is more robust. It means that you're reaching more fans in more places. I think it's really, really important that as musicians, our goal, let's be real, your goal is to create and then to enable others to enjoy what you've created. That's the goal. That's the whole goal of being a musician. You don't just make music in a vacuum for yourself, right? So if you have the ability to get your music into Russia, China, India, why wouldn't you? We as a distributor distribute. I actually ran a list the other day. It was fun. Right now, and this is excluding just odd partnerships, we're at 81 DSPs. 81 DSPs, and our onboarding team is hard at work on other initiatives. So that's going to keep growing for us. And as we grow that, it just grows more opportunity for you. It's more fan base to engage with. They may not speak your native language, but they might like your music. And it's really interesting. If you look into Spotify for artists and see where your music is getting consumed, it might surprise you. There's some really, really interesting things that you'll find there, especially some buzz cities in Latin America where, if you're popping off in Mexico City, you're going to be blowing up everywhere. It's pretty interesting. So I always think more is better, personally. James likes to ride bikes. It's his happy place. See, I like it. Hey, Jody. All right. What about companies such as Sonic Bids, Taxi, and things like that, where they put out opportunities for you to submit to? I don't have any experience with Sonic Bids at all, and I have experience with Taxi as an end user. I think anytime you have to pay for an opportunity, it's a bit questionable, personally. I know that for a lot of people, there's just no means to get Taxi. If you don't know, is a company that brings sync opportunities to their clientele. And last I knew, it was kind of like you had to pay to access those. I may be incorrect. I think that any company, any company bringing opportunity excites artists and songwriters that don't already have the opportunity. I would encourage you guys to be the champions of your own destiny. Go to sync panels. Get in a place where you can meet and develop a real relationship. I say it all the time, engage. This time you're engaging with different stakeholders. Engage with music supervisors. Go to where they're at if you can. There are so many great conferences that feature the music supervision community. Most film festivals have a great music supervisor plug-in portion. Nashville Film Festival has a spectacular one that I've been affiliated with for the last decade. And it's, we bring in a dozen music supervisors and we open up opportunities to the creators in town to get one-on-one time with the music supervisors. I think it's really important that you develop as many direct relationships as possible. You can still use a sync agent. That's, there are so many great companies that do that, Bodega included, where these people have the relationships. They've already plowed the field. But again, I think the big box approach to sync, especially when somebody says, well, we're going to put it in our sync search engine that all the music supervisors will utilize. Guess what, folks? Music supervisors don't use search engines. They ask their friends to send them the music that will work. And almost across the board. And some may say they do, but vast majority of music supervisors collect music, make sure it's got the right metadata points, and search it based on the metadata when they need it. And they collect it from trusted sources. And so, yeah, I would be wary of any big box sync solutions. It's in general. All right, Nick, regarding Sirius XM, I know Symphonic delivers to them, but what else would you recommend that an artist can do to increase their chances of being included? It's tough. Sirius XM in radio in general is such a tough market. I've seen people deploy $50,000 on a radio promo campaign to get 10 spins on non-com in some weird city and never have it actually affect their bottom line in a positive way, other than a little bit of a bump in performance royalty revenue. With Sirius XM, we do have direct relationships there, and we are able to pitch priorities, but we have to prioritize priorities. And so I'm not an expert on web radio and on Sirius XM, and I actually wouldn't be able to tell you how to up your chances there, other than if you're bringing singles to the foray that are highly engaged, that have an audience for them, that are showing to be successful in other areas, Sirius XM will pay attention. That's one reality of the space is it's almost like if you have success begets success, right? So if you have success in one space, others are going to look to it. I've got a good friend that founded the label that broke the Lumineers, who I once took to lunch, and I pinned him down and I said, give me the marketing plan. How'd you do it? Because they weren't a big label. They were this little independent kind of little engine that could. And he said, it's really easy. He said, we didn't go after top 40. We didn't go after the big fish. What we did is we knocked out all the little ones. We knocked out college radio and non-com radio. And when you're number one at college radio, you're number one at non-com, all of a sudden adult contemporary, top 40, and the larger genres that cost so much more money to get into have to pay attention. And I really do believe it'll be the same way for you guys with Sirius XM. If you're knocking all the pins down with every DSP with YouTube, Sirius XM happens. It happens automatically. Without a whole lot of push. And so that would be my recommendation there. All right. Hey, Mark. Did I just lose my page? All right. Sorry, I got distracted. All right. Got time for a couple more. Peter Wilhelski. Peter's a colleague of mine here. Just commented some color commentary on the Sirius thing. We are delivering metadata for reporting there, not so much to the play consideration angle. Yes, automagically, Liz. It's my own favorite word, and it is absolutely patented by me. You have to give credit if you use that word. All right, so we're almost at an hour now. Any other burning questions, guys? I really appreciate you guys being here. Like this is awesome. Like the only thing better than this would be when we can all get together and have a beer together. Hey, Mark Lambert. All right. Well, guys, I really appreciate you coming out virtually and being here with me today. This is a trying time for us and for all of us, and I just want you guys to know, the creators in the room, that you have advocates and fans, and we are here for you guys. Again, please check out our blog. The Symphonic blog is chock full of amazing resources, including a bunch of COVID-19 resources. If there's anything we can do for you, or anything Symphonic can do for you to help you succeed, we are here, and we want to be a part of that. So, guys, without any further ado, thank you so much. And we probably will try to do this again at some point. And I appreciate you guys all being here, and hope to see you guys all very soon, including you, Bradford Loomis. That guy's awesome. You should check him out on Spotify. Amazing, amazing songcraft. All right, guys. Peace out. Love you guys. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.